Hello, my name is Holly Moritz, and I'm in American History 2023, and this is my presentation on the 5 men that were in the Gilded Age. First, we're going to start with the 5. In the 5, we have John D. Rockefeller, Cornelius Vanderbilt, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and J.P. Morgan. So now we're going to look at how much money they really did control, and that's in today's money. So John D. Rockefeller had at his prime $340 billion. That's almost uncomprehendable how much money he actually had. Then Cornelius Vanderbilt had $215 billion. Andrew Carnegie controlled $13.6 billion. Henry Ford controlled $188 billion. And J.P. Morgan came in at $41.5 billion. Let's look at that for a second. I did some research, and Donald Trump only has $3.1 billion. Now that is a ton of money, but compared to everybody else on this list, like John D. Rockefeller, who has over 100 times as much money as Donald Trump did, that's insane and incomprehensible. Now we're going to start with Cornelius Vanderbilt. He was born in 1794, he died in 1877, and he was 82 years old when he died. Cornelius Vanderbilt was a cutthroat businessman. He would use whatever forces necessary to get the job done and get the best price for him. He had a $100 loan to buy one ferry boat that started it all. He built the largest shipping empire in only 40 years, and he sold it all to invest in railroads. It's pretty risky if you ask me. His nickname was the Commodore because he commandeered everything that he set his eyes on. Like I said, he was worth approximately $215 billion in today's money. He's also most well known for building Grand Central Depot, or as we know it, Grand Central Station. It was the tallest and largest building in New York City at the time. And here are 2 pictures of Cornelius Vanderbilt. One's a photograph and one's a drawing. Next we have John D. Rockefeller. He was born in 1839. He died in 1937. And he was 97 years old when he died. That's a really old age to live in that time period. John D. Rockefeller. He started with a very tiny income from a business that dealt with meat, grains, hay, and other goods. Some of the founding partners of Standard Oil were his 2 brothers and Henry Flagler, who's very well known down here because he made his empire in Palm Beach. At one point, his wealth was equal to 1.5% of the total United States gross domestic product, or the GDP. That's insane. That's 100% a monopoly just right there, just in himself. What's also really crazy about his life is he never smoked or drank any alcohol. Rockefeller was also a big philanthropic investor who donated more than $500 million to various philanthropic causes. And these are also 2 pictures of John D. Rockefeller. Andrew Carnegie. He was born in 1835. He died in 1919, and he was 83 years old when he passed away. Andrew Carnegie. He was born in Scotland. He moved to America when he was only 13 years old. He got a job as a button boy right off the ship coming to America. Now, guys, let's think about this for a second. So he made only $1.20 a week. And so I did the math, and that comes out to $62, a little over $62 a year. That is absolutely nothing to live on, even in that time. He rose to the top on the chain at the Pennsylvania Railroad, and then that way he had enough money to invest in his own. In the early 1870s, he entered the steel business, and over the next 2 decades, he became a dominant force in the industry. In 1901, he sold the Carnegie Steel Company to banker John Pierpont Morgan for $480 million. After he sold the company, he devoted himself to investing in great causes, and he eventually gave away more than $350 million. These are some pictures of Andrew Carnegie. Henry Ford. He was born in 1863. He died in 1947, and he was 83 years old when he died. Henry Ford. At 16, he left his home for the nearby city of Detroit, where he found apprentice work as a machinist. In 1888, he married Clara Bryant, who had grown up on a nearby farm with him. He built his first gasoline-powered horseless carriage, the quadricycle, in the shed behind his home. In 1903, he established the Ford Motor Company, and 5 years later, the company rolled out the first Model T. In 1913, he built the world's first moving assembly line for cars. That was huge at the time. The mass production techniques Henry Ford developed allowed Ford Motor Company to turn out one Model T every 24 seconds. That is so incredibly fast. Here are some pictures of Henry Ford when he was younger and older. Now we're on to our last big name, J.P. Morgan. He was born in 1837. He died in 1913. And he was 75 years old when he died. He was born into a very wealthy family, unlike the other men that we have looked at today. Morgan married Frances Louisa Tracy, the daughter of a New York lawyer, and the pair eventually had 4 children together. Morgan was also very heavily involved in reorganizing and consolidating a number of financially troubled railroads. On April 14th, the day of his funeral, the New York Stock Exchange closed in his honor until noon. Morgan was also very widely commended for leading Wall Street out of the 1907 financial crisis. This is also some pictures of J.P. Morgan. And for my sites, I used History.com, Crash Course YouTube, American History 2023, Mr. Baggett, and The Men Who Built America. It's a TV show. I hope you guys had fun, and have a great day.